In this video we will learn some basic information regarding worksheets. After the video you will be able to add, delete, rename and rearrange worksheets in your workbook. You will also learn how to add, delete, and resize the rows and columns in a worksheet. So let's start. If you remember from the previous videos, a workbook contains many worksheets and these worksheets are like pages of notebook. Whatever we do on one sheet will not impact the other sheet. This is where we can find the tabs for each sheet. Let me give you an example of how sheets are used. Suppose you want to maintain performance record of students of standard 8th. So your workbook will be 40 standard 8 and in the workbook you can have each sheet for each subject. So sheet 1 can pull data for English, sheet 2 for maths, sheet 3 for science, and so on. In this way your data will be well organized. Now, it would be more convenient if your sheet name was English instead of sheet 1. It's very easy to rename a sheet. Double-click on the sheet name and give the new name. So let's rename it to English. Similarly, let's rename sheet 2 to maths and sheet 3 to science. Now, if I want to keep a record of more subjects, I would need more sheets. Adding a sheet is pretty intuitive, just press this plus icon, and a new sheet will be added. Let's rename this sheet as Arts. If you accidentally added too many sheets, or if any of your sheet contains only junk data, you can delete that sheet by right-clicking on the sheet name and selecting the delete option. But just be cautious. When you delete a sheet, it cannot be recovered. So, just be sure before you delete any sheet. Now if you want to rearrange the sheets. So say you want math to be the first sheet and English to be the second one. How to move this math sheet to the first position? Again, this is also simple, just drag and drop this sheet to the location that you want it to be. So let's click on Maths sheet folder, click Move into the position we want and leave that. That's it. This is how we manage worksheets in a workbook. Now, let's see how to handle rows and columns within a worksheet. Let's enter some data in this sheet. We'll have two columns, name and marks. We'll input sample names, ABD or renames. And we'll input sample marks at 80, 82, 85. If you want to add more students, you can add them below this for through. But if you want to add data between these existing rules, say you want to add a student C between student B and A. For this, I need to insert a row between B and D. To insert the row, we right-click onto the number 4 of this row code and select the Insert option. Notice that a new blank row just inserted at the 4th place, and the row, which was earlier a divorce condition, now because it's through. And now we can enter the student's C data also. So, Secret scored 75 marks. Same goes with columns. If I want to insert a column name roll number in the beginning of this table, I need to insert a blank column in the first position. So I right-click on this first column, and select the Insert option. Notice that again a blank column comes exactly at the position where you are asked to insert the blank column. The column, which was originally at position A, now is at position B. Basically, all the columns have shifted to the right. Now we get into the roll number column also. Roll number. And below it we enter values 1234. Okay. Now, we notice that we cannot see this as roll number text completely. You can see in the formula bar that it contains the value, roll number. But its cell, we only see roll num. This is because the cell is limited with that in this way. It cannot fit the entire text. So we need to increase the width of this column. To do this, go to the right edge of this column A. When you hover your mouse over this border, you see that the mouse icon changes. Now, click and hold the mouse. You will see a thin line highlighting the column border. Now if you move your mouse, you will see this line moving. Leave the clip when you think that the grid is appropriate. There we have it, we can see the complete roll number text now. However, when we do it manually, we sometimes give extra space or less space at the end. Excel can help us here. If you go into the right border of this column and hover your mouse over it, you can see the mouse changing. In this position we can double-click on this border. Excel will automatically set the column width to the grid required to display the complete text in all the cells of that column. You can see that Excel has set the width so that roll number text is now visible to us. Just as we are resizing columns with the right border, we can resize the rows with the bottom border. Let's increase the height of this first row. Now, let's double-click on the bottom corner of row 1 to set it to the optimum row height. This is how we resize rows and columns. Now, let us learn how to delete data in rows and columns. Deleting junk data in rows and columns is also very simple. We just need to select the row, or the column, we want to delete, right-click on it and select the delete option. So if want to delete the 4th row, that is the row containing data of student C. We'll go to the 4th row, right-click. And here you can see that there is a delete option. Below the delete option, there is also clear contents option. There is a slight difference between clearing content from a row or deleting the entire row. When we delete the entire row, that row is removed from the worksheet, and the row below takes its partition. But when we clear the contains, the row stays in the worksheet. Only the data in that row is cleared. So let's first clear the contents of this row and see what happens. You can see that whatever was there in that row is just cleared. It is just removed. But the row stays. But if we delete this row, by again going and right-clicking, and clicking on delete, you can see that that entire row is removed from the worksheet. Similarly, we can delete columns. We delete this roll number column. And there you see that we have deleted the roll number column. The next thing we're going to discuss is the option of zooming in and zooming out. You can zoom in on a particular part of a worksheet, using this plus symbol at the bottom right corner of the screen. When you click the plus icon, a particular part of the worksheet will look bigger and will be more visible. When you have zoom in a lot of data, we'll move out of the visible screen to look at this data. You can use these scroll bars on the right, and on the bottom. Similarly, if you want to zoom out, you can use this minus sign. This will make a larger part of the worksheet visible to you. You can also use the slight bar for zooming in and zooming out. So this is how we zoom in and zoom out from a particular part of a worksheet. The last thing we're going to cover in this lecture is the hiding and unhiding functionality. Often we keep extra data in rows and columns, or even worksheets. This data may not be useless. And data may have been used for calculations. And we may not want to show those calculations, or the data may not be relevant to the person to whom we are showing our worksheet. For example, we may have an additional column of marks here, containing midterm marks. Let's enter this sample data quickly. We will insert a column before this column B. And this will contain midterm marks. Let's enter some values. 42, 45 and 50. And this column C is the total marks. Now, if someone is just interested in the total marks column, you can hide the midterm marks by selecting this column, right-clicking on it and selecting the hide option. Observe the column names here. There is a missing letter here, because there is a missing column. You can also see the border. The border looks somewhat different. There are 2 lines between A and C. If I hover my mouse over it, you can see the cursor also changes. The cursor has these 2 lines. Now, if I double-click, the hidden column becomes unhidden. This column is now visible. In this way, the columns of data, if you want to keep but not show, you can hide them. Similarly, for rows, if I want to hide data of student B, I will right-click on it and select hide. Again, if I forward my mouse on the border, you can see, this is one type of cursor. If I move slightly down, this is the other type of cursor. The first type of cursor will be used to resize the room. That is to adjust the height of the room. This is what we saw earlier also, we can adjust the height of the row by clicking and dragging this border. But move slightly down, and the nose icon looks like this. That is, it has two lines. It means that you are trying to unhide a hidden rows or columns. So there is a hidden row, if you double-click it will unhide that row. Similarly, we can unhide complete sheets. The process is same, right-click on the sheet name and select Hide. Hiding sheet is a common practice in businesses. Very often, only a sheet containing summary of the data and charts or graphs is visible. Other sheets, containing detailed data are hidden. If anyone wants to look at that data, they have to unhide the sheet. To unhide the sheet, you have to right-click in this bottom tab area, and select the Unhide option. Here you will see all the hidden sheets, select the sheet you want to unhide and click on OK. There is another way we can unhide rows, columns and sheets. This is by going in the Home tab, which is usually the selected tab, by default, and clicking on this Format button. Here under the Unhide option, you will see rows, columns and sheet options. Let's hide and unhide a sheet to see how this works. So when I click Hide Sheet, the selected sheet, which was named Art, is now hidden. Now if I want to unhide the sheet, I will go to Format Right. Hide Unhide Sheets. Now, select the sheet you want to unhide, click on OK. This sheet is back. With this, we have covered a lot in this video lectures. We learned how to handle worksheets. And after that, we covered how to handle rows and columns within a worksheet. That's all in this video. See you in next one.